Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. I am Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
And this is the Photo Booth Business Podcast. This is our first episode. I'm so excited.
I am also so excited, and I just can't hide it.
So, Ismail and I met at PBX this year. And it was really funny because I went with my partner and I was like, I was wearing a big hat. I was wearing sunglasses. I'm like, listen, we're going to go in. We're going to look around. I'm not going to talk to anyone. And we're going to get in and get out of there. I think so. We walk in. To the left is Brian Ginsberg. Immediately to his left is Ismail. I think I talked with you for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about that. You cost me a lot of business that day.
I did?
Yeah. I mean,
how much did you lose?
A lot of people walking up to me wanted to hear about my software, and I couldn't talk to them. I was talking to Ryan.
Whatever.
No, but all kidding aside, I think we talked for at least 45 minutes. It's probably an hour, not even exaggerating. And it was more of me just picking your brain. What I quickly found out was that Ryan was someone that was a very successful boother, someone that you probably don't really have heard about, but he was operating in the background doing a lot of these large events. And I just took the opportunity to pick his brain. And that kind of continued after the expo. We kind of kept in touch. And then I just kind of thought this would be a great podcast, me picking your brain, getting other people on here and talking to them about the photo booth business.
And I think that the way how it kind of came about was, I think we were just texting and I think you said, hey, we should do a podcast. And I'm like, I'm on it.
and when Ryan says he's on it, I gotta add some color here. When he says it's on it, like literally, I remember I was in my car, I was driving somewhere, listening to a podcast, and the night before I was asking Ryan questions. I got out of my car, I just shot him a message. I'm like, hey Ryan, we should do a podcast. Within 12 hours, we had a logo, we had a website, he went all out. We had a jingle, we had everything completely ready, and I was amazed.
No, done.
Yeah.
And actually, and it was actually 9 hours.
That's when I couldn't say no. We had to do the podcast.
No, and that was the thing. So I think we briefly talked about it the night before. I got a message, and you're like, "Hey, we should do this." And I was like, "Yeah, let's talk about it." The next morning, I live in Dallas. I'm on the tollway. I'm headed downtown to a photo shoot at literally 9 a.m. And I was just texting him. I was like, hey, let's come up with some names. And we bounced around a couple of names. Nothing was really sticking. I was like, you know what? Whenever we know it, we know it. And then Super Boothers was like, once it happened, I was like, this is it. This is just what we have to do. And it represents so much of, I think, what we're trying to accomplish. And I told him, I said, there's one problem. And he's like, what? I said, superboothers.com is taken. And he was like, oh man, he's like, maybe we can do superbootherspodcast.com. And Ismail was coming up with a whole bunch of other options. And I'm like, I'm kidding. It's taken by me. I already bought it. And at that point, it was just like, it was magic. And then, we started talking about ideas and things that I wish I knew whenever I was first starting out on photo booth.
Yeah. I think when you hear it, you just know it. And this was one of those things where it kind of clicked quickly. And we were like running a list of topics off immediately, and it kind of seemed to flow. And we're excited to get this going.
One of the things that I think so a little bit about me, I started photo booths, I think in 2009. I was living in Houston at the time, and I had a floral company, an event production company, and we used to joke that, so back then our logo was 3 dots. It was a floral dot, it was a lighting dot, and it was a rental dot. And we always used to joke that every year we would add another dot. So I think in year 4, we added photo booth, and we originally ran a Groupon, and that Groupon was insane. It was back when Groupon did literally 1 Groupon a day, not like what it is today. And I think we sold something crazy like $30,000 in photo booths in one day. And I remember at the time I called a photo booth company and I said, listen, I need 3 photo booths now. And they're like, you know what? No, we really just want to, have you do 1, see if it works out. I was like, no. I have like literally 50 reservations, like starting in 2 weeks. I need a photo booth now. Here's my credit card. Pick a number, charge whatever you want on it. Give them to me now. And literally that's just kind of how it came about. And I threw myself into the business, not really kind of knowing what to do or where to go. And I wish I had something where someone was guiding me and telling me, hey, listen, I've tried this. It works. This one doesn't. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. And that's similar to my story as well, where, and by the way, that'd be a great episode about Groupon and how you got started off Groupon. We could delve into that into an individual episode.
It's coming.
Yeah. Similar with me, I actually first got the idea. I had a nonprofit organization I was running, and we hired a photo booth. And I just saw how they operated. I was amazed at how much they were able to charge. This was like 3 years ago. And I knew my younger brother wanted to get into entrepreneurship, so we kind of toyed around with the idea. And ironically, I actually heard a podcast with the owner of Strike a Pose photo booths. And he was talking about the photo booth business, and that is what kind of got me involved at the very beginning. So it's funny how it comes full circle. Now we have our own podcast about the photo booth business.
No, it really is. And, that actually kind of reminds me a little bit. Whenever we did Groupon, I guess the price margins, were a little bit different. I remember first photo booth I ever did, I charged $1,800 for 3 hours. Now I'm lucky if I can get 500. I mean, it is just, the business really has exploded. And I was asked, I think a couple of weeks ago on where I think the photo booth industry is going, and there is nowhere to go but up. I think there's so many boothers out there. There's so many, people offering different things, and there's absolutely room for everyone. I mean, I read somewhere that there's like, I don't know, something crazy like 50,000 weddings or something in the state of Texas every year. And I certainly don't feel like doing all 50,000 of them.
Oh, how generous of you. Letting us all share in the events. Nice.
You can do one. I will do 49,999.
Thank you. But no joke, it does seem like there's a lot of, growth for the industry. And I think seeing the expo, that was the first time I went to the expo. And
Mine too. And I've been doing this for years.
It was the first time there, and you see how many people there are. And I was blown away talking to people from all over the world that own and operate successful photo booth businesses and how they all do it in different ways. So I was there promoting a software product that I built, but I ended up walking away learning a lot from other people and trying to come up with ways how to incorporate the lessons I learned into our rental business. And I think that's what we want to do with this podcast, kind of like what Ryan was saying, something that we hoped we had when we started.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really about just improving yourself, improving your service, improving your equipment, just to improve revenue altogether. I mean, I think that one of the things is whenever you hit like a little growth cap and you need to figure out when to hire people and how to train people and how to manage people. One of the best stories that I think I was ever taught was it's like the story of a cake lady. It's, there's a little person that starts off in corporate world, which I'm sure a lot of boothers started off in corporate world. And you end up doing like, hey, I'm going to bake a cake for, our little department. And then someone says, oh my God, I love this cake. Where can you make a cake for me? Yeah, sure. How much are you going to charge me? I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, whatever. Ta-da, there's your first sale. Then all of a sudden, someone else from that party says, hey, can you do a cake for me? Can you do a cake for me? Can you do a cake for me? Then all of a sudden you're making all these cakes and you can't do it out of your house anymore. So you need to get an office. Then you get an office and now you can't make all these cakes alone and be able to sell as well. So then you need to hire bakers. Then you need to hire salespeople. Then you need to hire cashiers. And then all of a sudden you're messing with rent. You're messing with payroll. You're messing with insurance. You're messing with delivery drivers. All of a sudden you're not baking cake anymore. And that's what you intended out doing. So one of the goals that I have is to help people bridge that gap and not necessarily have to be so scared of growing.
Yeah, and it's actually funny you brought the cake lady up as an example. No joke, at one of my previous jobs, there was a lady who baked cakes for like company parties, and then other companies in the building wanted to bake cakes, and she ended up quitting the job to pursue this full time. So that's definitely something that actually happens in different industries and different businesses.
I think it absolutely happens for boothers as well. One of the other things that we really, really, really want to talk about is getting corporate clients. And I remember one of the first conversations we had, Ismail was like, how did you get your first corporate client? And it was really the first big one was the San Antonio Spurs. I got them during the playoffs, the year they won. And, he's like, how'd you get it? And I said, I picked up the phone. And literally, that's really how it all got started. And I just made sure to publish those photos and make sure that, everyone knew, hey, I was capable of doing this. And it was a great learning experience. It was back when, a lot of photo booths didn't have necessarily internet coming out of them. So you could only send out emails. This was also before you could text from photo booths as well, to where if you didn't have internet, it would go into a queue and then you had to wait to plug it into the internet. Funny enough, I was at AT&T Center. They couldn't give me internet. I'm like, you're AT&T, you're my client. How come I don't have internet? It just didn't make any sense. And that's another thing. We encounter a lot of problems, and I think it's also really good to figure out how to work around those problems.
Yeah, it's amazing that a lot of the stuff may sound very basic, like picking up the phone, but if you talk to boothers, a lot of them don't pick up the phone. It sounds such common sense, but they have things going to a Google Voice number and they just reply to them when they can. I think most people out there don't actually pick up the phone. And just to talk Ryan up a little bit, I think he is a super boother, and that's probably what this show is going to be about, is how do we all get to that level ourselves. And when he mentions events like the Spurs, he's done tons and tons of events for NBA teams, corporate clients. I mean, he actually did the Super Bowl, which is amazing, and a bunch of
a lot of work.
Yes,
It was so flipping hard.
I can imagine. Maybe we'll dig into that too in a separate episode. But he is a legit super boother. He's done celebrity events as well. So I think it's a privilege for me to have someone like him to pick his brain. And I hope everyone else will benefit by listening to the show. And not only with Ryan, we're going to try to get other industry leaders on the podcast as well.
We already have.
Yes, we have some lined up. Yep.
Justin Jowett, Chris Meyer, Brian Ginsberg, Thomas Siegel, they've all agreed to do our show already. And we're so excited to have them.
Yeah, can't wait. So we have some fun stuff lined up coming up for you guys. And we'd like to get people involved too. So if you have any questions that you want us to ask specific people, or if you have any questions you want us to ask, we want people to be involved and, communicate that to us.
And this is going to be, so actually, I didn't even know about this. So you're going to go on to superboothers.com and click ask a question, and you can ask us a question in two ways. You can click to leave a voice message where you can record your voice, ask your question, and we'll put you on the show. Or you could just, if you're not comfortable with that, you can just type in your topic or your question that you want us to cover. And if we pick your question, you're going to get a free t-shirt or a mug. And I'm so excited for these things. We just ordered ours, and I think that's what I'm more excited for than anything else.
Yeah, and they look really cool, by the way. And it's not just because it's ours. Like, they're awesome.
They're awesome, period. So that's the thing, is that, what this show is, what we make of it and what you make of it. I really want to hear from everyone. We can always learn from everyone every day. And I've certainly learned a lot from Ismail. He has taught me so much, and I think that, I'm pretty tech savvy and I know a lot, but he's shown me stuff that I didn't even know existed out there that has literally changed my life. One of the things that we use is Trello. If you haven't used Trello, it's seriously the best thing ever.
Yeah, I run my life on Trello.
I don't know how anyone does it. I don't know how I lived before Trello. It's where you can collaborate with ideas, and it's kind of works like Facebook or Twitter. So it's just, it's very intuitive and it's awesome. If you haven't tried it, and if you work with a team, use Trello. It's seriously amazing. And that's not sponsored.
No, that's free. And that's not going to happen anymore. No more free sponsorships.
So another thing is what the show will not be about. The show is really not about tech support. I mean, I would love to help everyone. Please don't send me a picture of why your screen is turning black and not showing, darkroom. I mean,
or if the printers are not printing and the pictures are not aligned. We're tech savvy people, but that's not really what what this show's going to be about. Yeah.
I mean, the best thing that I can tell you is just turn it off and turn it back on.
The old reliable restart always works.
Or kick it. Or, you know, or just forget it and just leave the event altogether. It's all good. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so go onto our website, superboothers.com. And actually, we also have a Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And our hashtag is AskSuperBoothers.
Submit questions. Submit audio questions, please. I want to hear your lovely voices.
It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. Yeah, so I'd like to see where this is going to go, and I'd love to see the questions that we're going to get.
I'm so excited. I just can't fight it. I had to get that in again. I know you like that one. I know you like that one.
Okie dokie. Well, be sure to join us on May 24th. It's for our first official episode. Tell us what you think. Submit your questions online at www.superboothers.com, and remember to subscribe on iTunes.